and it's just delightful. Like this feels high quality sports car. Knots there, guys, through that turn. Incredible. That's incredible. Rightio, g'day guys. Welcome to another video. Nice to see you again. Quite excited about this one today. This is a test drive video, so if you're interested in a walkthrough, subscribe. It'll be in the video description. If it's not there yet, it means I haven't uploaded it. So just hang tight, maybe hit the notification bell and you'll get notified when it is online. My name's Dan Jones. Welcome to Dan's Boat Life. And today I'm on the XO Defender 9. This boat is a new model for XO. I actually don't know what the XO stands for or if it does stand for anything. So if anyone knows, maybe leave a comment in the description below. This is an upgrade from their original Defender 8. I have tested that boat before, so follow the link that comes up on your screen now to check that out. The Defender 8 was just an absolute weapon. Super exciting, and it's for a man with a mission. Basically, that's the way I sort of envisaged that boat. And what I can see already, and I'm literally having my first drive right now, so I'm sure we will learn along the way, is that they've taken that craziness and they've added a little bit more sensibility to it. So you've got an incredibly capable boat. You've got something that makes you feel like you're in a fighter jet at the helm, to be honest. Not that I've flown any fighter jets, but I've sat in a few. And they've added some sensible features to it. You know, it's got a toilet, it's got a bed, it's got a sun lounge, it's got quite a unique helm and social area here, which will be covered in more detail in the walkthrough. But from a driving perspective, we've got all this protection if we want, and we can be completely open if we choose as well. So I like that for our market or for our climate. As an example, we have these ginormous doors which slide. So I'm actually going to leave them closed today because it's 12 degrees. 12 degrees. It's not often 12 degrees on a Sydney day, but winter is here. And now that I do have the doors closed, I'm actually going to take this vest off, because had I known these seats were going to be this colour, I would have worn blue. So anyway, I'll just lay that on the floor. I can put it in the cabin if I choose. So that just gives me really nice protection from the breeze here. I've now got wonderful visibility. I'm in the standing position at the moment, and I can transit to the seated position as we roll. But I've got an opening sunroof here. I can open the doors and I can see holes on the tracks here, so you can open them halfway for ventilation or access, or you can open them all the way. So this could be completely open or completely enclosed. So that's cool. What do we have here at the dash? It feels like a fighter jet. It really does. So steering wheel, really muscular setup here. This is adjustable, matte black in color. I've got a nicely designed dash just here. So my a digital Mercury throttle is positioned just a little bit back, so my steering hand is the left hand, my throttle hand is the right hand. Feels natural, and I really like this design here because you are, you know, it's a tighter boat on volume, and it's supposed to be, because we'll get to that in the whole design when we talk about it. But that's going to stop anyone from you or anyone else from knocking the throttle accidentally, and that's really sensible. So you've got that protection there. I got my trim tab operation here, so I can be throttle straight down to the tabs. This little button here is to open the door to the cabin, which we'll cover in the walkthrough. Then I've got some phone charging. I've got anchor windlass up and down. I've got spotlight operation. I've got my starboard bank of switches, so from starboard to the middle, spare cockpit lights, courtesy lights, sprinklers, and horn. I think what they mean by sprinklers is water to the windscreen wiper. And then from port to the center, on this bank, we've got bilge pump, headlight, deck light, anchor light, nav light. I've got my flat screen Simrad display here. Decent size. Looks like you've got facility to have two if you choose. Nice matte. Yeah, this just feels good actually. I don't know what that material is. Matte dash just here, and a Ritchie compass just forward. And I've got some vents. This looks like little air vents for possibly a demister, whether that's optional or not, but that would make sense for that location just there. It does have a bow thruster, and the bow thruster is just located on port. The windscreen wiper is immediately below. Key starts underneath the wheel. You've got your safety lanyard there as well. And what I really like from an operational perspective is these house start 1, start 2, and bow thruster batteries all operated from the helm. So you literally unlock the door, jump on board, fire it up with your left hand, start it with your right hand, you're ready to rock and roll. So that's cool. That's very cool. VHF just mounted at sensible spot just here. A couple of down lights forward. Obviously you wouldn't have them on when you're running, and I can see more aft, but that's sort of not related to driving. And and then the final thing worth talking about is so all the fuses, all the boat's systems are controlled just with your right hand here. Again, it feels a little bit fighter jet. I like it. But that's just down at your right hand, so if you blew or needed to access a fuse, you can just get to it immediately. You have a Fusion AUX control plus charging down here, couple of drink holders just in the center console, and the control for the stereo. So everything to operate this boat, from starting it to stopping it to entertaining on board it, is within reach of the skipper. So that's cool. So let's get moving. I think I'll just start. All clear. So yeah, it's beginning of winter. It's all that time of year. So it's cabin boat time of year, I guess is what it is. Beginning of winter here, June, Sydney. The sun's out, which is nice. That's can't say the same for most of summer. But what do we have here? We have a military grade aluminium hull, a 23-degree dead rise cutting bow, super aggressive ocean weapon of a thing. She's got about 3 mil plate from the top down to about 8 mil of thickness down the bottom. And the interesting thing about XO is they're not just aluminium, because as many of you will know, an aluminium hull can be noisy. You will hear a lot more noise with the waves slapping against an aluminium hull. What XO have done is put inside the hull a nice fiberglass deck, and then they have insulated this whole cabin area between the aluminium and the fiberglass. So that actually gives you really good sound deadening, and we're going to experience that as well. So if you combine that sound deadening with the glass sound deadening and an open transom, I think it's going to be quite a comfortable experience. And judging by what I just saw from the drone, admittedly I was sitting downstairs on the dunny, I will see what it's like up here at the helm. So the boat's, she's about 2,600 kg, empty, 450 litre tank, twin 225 Mercs, they're about 270 kg each, so whatever that adds up to. I went to a public school, so I can't do that in my head. 230 litres, probably 240 on this angle, of fuel on board. Myself, Campbell, the guys from Adventure Boats, who are the representatives of this brand, and a couple of bags worth of camera and safety gear. Let's get moving. Engines are trimmed all the way down. Pop straight up on the plane, so you feel that acceleration quite noticeably. And I'm at the standing position here. I've got a full outstretched arm. I'm 5'7" high before I'm touching the roof. So this is going to be fine for tall blokes. And I've just come up to the 23 knot speed. She's dragging her ass a little bit at 23 knots, so it feels like she just wants to go faster, which makes sense to me. There you go. Once she 25 knots plus, she levels out, and that's what this boat wants to do. Now, noting I haven't done any trim just yet, so we're going to feel the boat. I'll do that in a second. I just want to see how this thing feels. That's got me at 3,800 revs. God, this is beautiful. That's got me to 29 knots SOG, level bow. I got clear visibility from a standing position. I'm just going to feel the seated position. I got a footrest that I can operate. Suspension seats. Oh, they're quiet suspension on this one. The other XO had noisy seats. Oh, this is cool. This will be comfortable. You'd obviously slide it a little bit further forward for my little legs. This has been set up for Campbell. This is actually quite nice. I'm going to go back to the standing because we are going to go in the ocean. I just want to feel it. So I'm just going to wind that speed up just a couple of knots. Quiet and smooth is my initial observation. So, need to close that door. So 30 knots, 3,900 revs. So that's another interesting observation. At 3,900 revs, that's a low rev count for a petrol engine. So your fuel flow is going to be really good. Actually, I can see my fuel flow here. 30 litres an engine. So 60 litres an hour is giving us a speed return. I'm hovering between 29 and 30 knots, and I'm not in flat water. You know, we have a little bit of wave bounce back here and some powerboat wash. We're just going to head straight out into the ocean because that's what this boat's built for. So let's do that. We'll go around this yacht. You got your fender out, mate. Not a good look anyway, as long as he's enjoying himself. Never a good look. Don't do that, guys. Always remember to stow your fenders. Some YouTuber will go past you and make fun of you. Never live that down. Anyway, okay, so I haven't felt the need to do the trim tabs, but I'm going to do them anyway. Okay, so that's half trim tab down, noticeable lowering of the bow, and we're just going to head out to sea. I don't think I need it, so I'm just going to raise them to a third down, and we'll just keep going at that 29, 30 knots. We don't need to break any speed records here. Raising my trim tabs to fully retracted, and we'll just play with it. Going around the point here, so that's South Head. We do have a few little breaking waves, so I'll stay wide. And yeah, this just feels fantastic. Like, these are the sort of conditions that you could just do this all day on. You're not going to get beaten up going out in the ocean on this thing. Woohoo! Yeah. Okay, I should keep my hand on the throttle, otherwise I'll set a bad example. So I'm just going to hook it in here and go into some waves. Just doing that 26, 27 knots. I can see it looks like a dive boat up ahead. So now going into the waves, I'm just going to lower my bow. So I've done full trim tabs down. I noticed the travel on the trim tabs is quite powerful. Oh, beautiful. Into some swell. 27 knots consistent, hitting 28 at times. This is lovely. This is lovely. We're in the ocean. We're going through moderate waves, meter, maybe a little bit more at times, but they are short at times. So, and I'm just going directly into those. All right, let's actually take the dial off a bit of the speed, and we will just do some turns, feel the boat. So they've got some divers in the water, so we'll stay away from them. Yeah, this is just slicing it up. I can feel every bit of that dead rise to my benefit at the moment. The cutting bow, I haven't had a drop of water over the bow. I note that these sides are dry as well, and all the cushions, I know they don't get wet because I've launched and caught my drone off them 3 times now, and they were completely dry. So that's impressive. Now let's just do a turn and let's go across the waves. So what I'm doing, as I see waves building and changing shape, I'm trying to expose the knife edge of my bow and hull to a right angle of the wave as I'm going into it, because you might as well, if you can cut into that wave as best as possible, you'll notice a stability benefit, like it'll be softer. And so that's what I'm doing. If you see me turning the wheel, it's just a way of driving boats like this. So I've raised my trim tabs. Interestingly, I haven't felt the need to do engine trim, so because I'm still hovering around that 3,800 to 3,900 rev range. I haven't really gone over 4,000, so that's incredible actually. So going down some waves here, feeling good. Speed it up a little bit. I want to keep learning how this thing goes in the rough before we go super fast. And I'm comfortable. It's a cold day. Geez, it's good to have this glass. That's great. So feeling this, you could actually do maybe just a smidgen of tab going down those waves there. Lovely. Breaking waves, gonna go wide. So I'm gonna just get around here, find some clear water and open up the throttle a bit. We'll just feel it through, and then we're gonna go downwind and see how the boat behaves. I might do a couple of turns here as well. Okay, so I'm clear of the reef, just going to come around, do a gentle turn to port. So a couple other observations, I'm not losing visibility. The visibility is incredible. With this high door just here, including on that side, your ability to have a keen eye on what's going on around you is exceptional. And because it's not getting wet, there's no salt build-up or anything. We've just been in the ocean and not a drop. The windscreen I really like. It's got some aggressive presence from a looks perspective, but again, from a visibility point of view, having these windows in the corner here, this pillar and that pillar, it doesn't provide any safety risk in my opinion. You know, some boats I drive do have really thick pillars. Admittedly, there'll be different styles, and sometimes I get worried about, you know, if you're a novice, you might forget to check your surroundings. Okay, so let's just do some moderate speeds. This is lovely. So I'm really feeling that insulation right now. So you can tell that they don't have insulation in the bow. So when you're down there, it's a little bit noisier. Not that anyone is ever going to run in the bow. The insulation is all through the midsection of the boat, from my observation. I don't know that for a fact, and it's just delightful. Like this feels high quality sports car. This is next level quality compared to many of the cutting bow boats you'll see me test. This is a step above. So let's just going to go in there. I'm still sitting on that 29-30 knots speed. So let's find some speed numbers for you. I'm just going to slow it down at first. So I've got engine trim down, trim tab completely off, and coming back to 20 litres consumption aside gives me a speed return of 22 knots. So 22 knots, 22 knots, 22 litres aside. That's pretty easy to remember. So that's probably your long distance cruise. You might want to play with the trim tabs a little bit because the bow comes up a smidge. Nothing dangerous, but then if you increase that to 3,800 revs at 28 to 29, let's give a little bit of engine trim up this time now that we're in flat water. Yeah, that gives us 28.5 knots and 27 litres aside. So the reason why I'm talking about fuel consumption on this boat, I absolutely think people are going to use this boat as a Sydney Harbour day boat, Queensland, Melbourne run around, you know, Roto in Perth, etc., etc. I also think some of you blokes are going to be using it for your surf safari trips in Bali, or your resort in Fiji, or your some other random place where you really need a capable, reliable, long distance and functional vessel. Oh, and cool. It's got to be cool. And I think that's going to be relevant to some of you blokes, because this is the XO Defender that I've sold in the past. They use it for surf trips. They use it for spearfishing. They do, you know, he rang me at the end of summer and said, mate, I've just had the best summer of my life. And I can see some of you guys who really know your boats, really know how you enjoy the water, looking at a boat like this and going, that's what I've been looking for. So that's why I think it's relevant. So let's just speed her up a little bit more, just crossing the heads here, moderate chop, nothing too much to worry about. So I've just gone over 4,000 revs, first time of the day. That's giving me a speed return of 32 knots. I got my trim tabs all the way up, just don't need it. Now it feels like the engine trim wants a little bit of a play. Let's just feel that. Yeah, 32 knots, 33 knots. I love this. I think you just kind of rest your arm on it. This is comfortable stuff. So now let's give it a bit more speed. Woohoo! This is good. This is good. It's got enough excitement and a liveliness to give you a bit of a laugh, but I don't think it's going to scare people who are not used to it. Because if you've got a girlfriend sitting here, she's going to feel all protected by this glass. It's not in the wind. Whereas on the other Defender, you are, you know, more exposed to the elements. So if you're not a true ocean lover, you know, you could get scared. So here we go. I'm just going through some waves. Rolling swell coming from my starboard half quarter. They actually break there at times. Yeah, let's run this. Sick. Okay, that's giving me 35 knots, 4,800 revs. I haven't even done wide open throttle yet. 37, 38 knots. Wonderful, wonderful through the waves. Great directional stability. You can take your hands off the wheel. She just goes straight through chop, and you just feel like you are absolutely bossing it at the moment. So when I get into this smooth stuff, I'm just going to open it up, then we'll just do a few little laps here just to feel it out. That's just a consistent cruising speed of 36 to 37, 36 and a half knots at 4,600 revs in choppy water. Here we come into the flat stuff. I got no trim tabs. Just going to go across the reef there, not across, past I should say. That's the wrong way to describe it. 36 knots. Not going to open up just yet. I'm just going to do a turn. So let's do a moderately hard turn. Just turning to starboard. So first thing I note, visibility. No loss of visibility. It doesn't heel as much as I thought it would actually. You can really feel the keel digging in here and doing its thing. So now let's give it some. Oh, those engines sound great. Yes. Straight to 40 knots with very little effort whatsoever, and I'm only at 4,800 revs just then. So let's just go through this boat wash. I'm going to do a full speed run when I turn around. That feels fantastic. So I think if you're in chop going upwind, you might lower your trim tabs to half or a quarter down. If you're in the ocean going upwind, you might lower your trim tabs all the way down, average a speed of about 26, 27 knots. When you come inshore, now let's drop engines, turn around, smooth, still no water on the glass. Maintaining that speed at 32 knots there, guys, through that turn. Incredible. That's incredible. Okay. Whoa. Yeah, let's see how we go. Okay, that's wide open throttle, 5,200, 5,300, trimming my engine up, got my trim tabs all the way up. I'm hitting 43 knots and climbing, 5,400, 5,500. I've got 44 knots. I've seen 45 knots, 5,600, 5,650, 5,700. Okay, so when these engines are run in, you're going to see 46 knots. I saw 45. That's a lot of fun. Okay, I like this boat. Wow. Yeah, how do I wrap that one up? I think if you are the guy or girl, I love to see girls getting into a boat like this too. It's probably going to be guys. If you've had boats before, if you know and understand your boating and how you enjoy the sea, you will see value in the excitement and the convenience and the capability that this XO will bring to you. You could use this thing as a tender to a big boat. You could go on an epic camping or roughing it adventure, or you could do your fancy day boat scene, summer or winter. And no matter what the weather's doing, you're going boating. So if that's important to you, I think you need to keep the XO Defender 9 on your list. My name's Dan Jones. This has been Dan's Boat Life. See you on the next one. Rightio fellas, welcome to a bonus part of the video. The vest is back on because the doors are open. And the doors are open because we're going to do a little bit of parking simulation and see what this boat is like to manoeuvre in close quarters. It's a twin engine boat, so I can do transverse thrust. And the first thing worth talking about is the access to the side decks. So I've got a cleat literally right next to my left hand, and I can almost reach it if I just step under this seat to reach the starboard cleat. So if you're solo operating and pulling the thing into a dock, completely doable. And what else do we have? We've got our bow thruster on port and our throttle on starboard. So if I just dial off some speed, got a couple of divers in the water, keep them to starboard, got the chopping one up today. So the visibility to all points of the boat is possible from the helm position. You can also stick your head out and see the back corner and the bow, so that's good. We've got grab handles all the way around the boat, so you can, if you're in a rush, get yourself into a scenario where you just jump off and hold on to one of the grab handles, but your cleat is easily reached as well. Your bow thruster goes on and off with this button here, and when that's on, a little red light goes on. So press, red's the daytime so I couldn't see it. Okay, there you go. So let's just try some transverse thrust. I don't have any wind here, but I'm gonna go round this way, anti-clockwise. So whenever I'm doing this transverse thrust, I always just use my throttle hand to operate the levers, even though it's a twin engine boat, because I find if you get into this scenario using both hands, you might find yourself throttling too much or going a little bit too aggressive. And you got to remember, like, the engines are a mechanical item and there's moving parts that need to catch up, so to speak, to you. So you shouldn't just be revving the guts out of something and going like this, like some people have a tendency to do, or perhaps haven't been taught and do that naturally. So it's much better to just be slow and steady, considered, and then the boat's going to do what you want it to eventually. And so first thing worth noting, the deep V hull on this one gives you good directional stability in reverse. Now, if I want to adjust the directional stability, I can just steer the boat as well. But if I wanted to tickle up the bow, so I wanted to bring it in, yep, plenty of guts in that, so I can do that as well. So you've got the options of using transverse thrust, steering, and your bow thruster to maneuver this boat. But one of the things that I like to know that I can or can't do is what's called a side slip into a dock like this. And the way I achieve that is by angling my motor in the direction that I want to travel, and then complementing it with some bow thruster. So in this situation, I'm just going to go back a little bit. In this situation, I do have some sand there, so I won't go back too far. I'm going to turn the engine towards the dock, and I'm going to go just one engine in forward. I'm not going to touch the dock because I haven't put my fenders out there. And see how the boat's getting closer to the dock there? And then I can actually, if I start to pass my destination, I can just swap the wheel over, give it a click in reverse, and keep thrusting, and then that's going to bring me to my destination. So I'm just going to keep a meter or two off until I go get my fenders. But so what does that tell me? If you stuff it up, you can get out of trouble, basically. You can pull in alongside a dock parallel with a boat in front and aft, and you're just that tight little spot there. You can maneuver your way in sensibly and with a nice rock star fashion without any problems. Your guests won't need to get involved. So yeah, for maneuvering, tight spaces, easy access, thumbs up on this boat, thumbs up.